So we're gonna go ahead and get started because it's so close to 5. This presentation, the renovation town hall, is being recorded. So people that can't make it will still be able to know what happened. So we do ask when you come to the question part that you wait for a microphone to ask your question, so the recording can pick it up and other people will know what you said.
I know this slide is very easy to read. So I'm Kelly Wilson. Clearly, I am not an IT person. So if there's anything that it can help in case I have to borrow this screen. Executive Director of Facilities. I saw where there were flyers laying around with all that on there, so I guess I don't really need to go into an introduction. Today, we are here to talk about the upcoming exciting renovation of the Schroeder Library here on main campus. I'm going to try to focus mainly on what has happened in the near past, like in the last few weeks. Only I'm not going to go over back and reinvent the wheel back to when we started programming the project. And then we'll move forward on some things we're currently working on internally as Columbus State, and then also what the architects are doing, what the contractor's doing, what is the state doing, and then where do we go from here. That could affect the people in the building or anyone outside the building. So ultimately, the first thing is the job did bid officially on April the 2nd. The good news is that the project came in under budget. So that was a huge milestone for us as CSU, waiting to find out what the budget would be. So the budget defines a lot of scope that we might not have been able to put originally into the project that we took out, trying to make sure it did come in under budget, but that gives us a little bit of fluff, if you will, to kind of give us an opportunity to maybe put a few things back in that we really, really wanted, sort of thing, which again, I don't have that list today to offer you because we have not yet had that discussion with the state due to the fact that the contract was just issued this week to the contractor, the low bidder, who is Garbutt, that's G-A-R-B-U-T-T, construction out of Dublin, Georgia. So I know that sounds really, really far away. It's really not. The last project we finished on campus was with Parish Construction, who was out of Macon, roughly. So being in Columbus, that's pretty close together, right? Macon and Dublin, just a few miles on the interstate. So they have been out here. I don't know if anybody's noticed them in the building, but Garbutt was here last week. A couple of times they've showed up, and they were here today. The owner of the company came out, walked the building, flipped every drawing on the project. They came to us this afternoon earlier to ask a few questions, and I'm excited to report that what we thought would be the schedule of the work from the original is pretty close. So that's good. That's good news. So no major changes other than one item which we will go over with reference and circulation at some point here this week or next week. So the first thing I want to go over that would affect everybody for the most part, or at least certain departments, is the moves. Sorry, I'm not going to change these yet. These are drawings, so let's talk a little bit. So moves involved, the first move originally, going back a little bit, was we moved Center of Online Learning over to Schuster, and we moved, now affectionately known as CSU Advise, over to Woodall. The next item that we are currently working on, we're not quite finished with. We are working exclusively with the departments that have records down in the university storage room with David, who's also been working with the state storage records outfit to get those items in the appropriate places before they're completely out of that room, because that room will be getting renovation. The large storage on the ground floor that is considered facility storage, that is us. We store extra carpet, filters for the HVAC, light bulbs, light fixtures, that sort of thing. I'm in the process of consolidating that down to a much smaller footprint because the HVAC that we'll be adding into the building to condition the air for special collections archive storage will be housed in half of my storage, basically. So we're in the process also, just like everybody else, of consolidating our storage down. Once the project starts, the contractor will ultimately start in the bottom of the building for special collections archives new space. The majority of their space will be housed where the Center of Online Learning offices and classrooms were, as well as the ROTC classroom. They will start there, but at the same time also be building the new storage for the stacks of Special Collections archives in the opposite end of the building. Those will go at the same time. Once those are built, the biggest move of this whole project will happen, and that will be moving Special Collections archives from the third floor where they are currently down into their new space. So that is the biggest overall move of the project. We will also be changing the footprint of Einstein's. Coffee and bagels will still be the same. Nothing changes. They will be closed as usual during the summer. But the footprint will change shape, if you will, to create a wall that will eliminate, I don't know if you say it, it just hurts my heart, the smell of bagels and coffee out of the library. I'm just kidding. Until it burns one, I get it. But ultimately, we will be building a wall that will prevent the wafting of the smell of burnt anything or the sounds of the latte machine or whatever the barista is doing. So that is going to change the shape of that. However, it should not change production whatsoever toward what they're providing as product to the masses. The vending area, which is now located at the front doors, will be moving to a small room to the right of the Einstein's footprint. So that will no longer be at the front doors. So that moves as well. We will be moving all of the computer stations up here in the front northwest corner over closer to the UITS repair shop where they currently have computers. So all computers will now be located in the southeast corner of the main floor to put them closer to UITS so they can do their job. The UITS offices, there are 4 of those located in the southwest corner here, will now be located next to the repair shop. So that's another move that will happen. And those rooms will then become a new study room. So instead of keeping individual study smaller rooms, we will be opening it up to become one larger room with booths for studying. Similar to the booths that we put into Lenore. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to see the study booths over there, but they are pretty popular with the students. That will have a glass wall, by the way, so there will be full visual into that room from the outside. The remaining book collection after the weeding that is still hopefully almost complete will be located at the end of the project all on the 3rd floor. So there will be no book collection stacks any longer on the main floor or the 2nd floor. Everything will be on the 3rd floor. Reference and circulation currently have 2 separate desks. They will be combining into one large desk immediately to your left coming into the main entrance of the main floor of the library. I'll show pictures later. And the last is, once everything is complete and we are all built out, eventually, I don't know a date, those things are kind of fluid at this point, being so early on, CSU Advise and ACT next door at Woodall will be moving over to their permanent new renovated location on the 2nd floor. So that will be the last move in the timeline of moves for the project. A couple other things that we've been doing at the same time, these are the things that happen in the background that most of you don't even realize happen, is we've done an overall furniture assessment inside of the space, working exclusively with Steve Morrison, University Support Services, who is in charge of furniture on campus. He is assessing with his furniture vendors your current status of furniture in the building and what the budget is within FF&E for him to purchase new furniture, and hopefully marry the two. I will say there will be some things that will go away that you'll never see again. We will try to repurpose those items that aren't technically ready to go away. You will probably see more of the newer stuff on the main floor of the building. As you go up, you will see more of the existing items. We have also, after I went through all the moves, sorry, I just skipped ahead a little bit, or maybe I went backwards. We have met with the movers. The movers have walked every floor of the building. They have a full timeline of moves. They are currently in the process of making a schedule and pricing that for purposes for us. We have a meeting next week sometime with the University Police to review the security plan. We will be upgrading cameras, adding some few cameras, and looking at some more access control on the building. Of course, hard spikes, if anybody does not know what that means. We will be holding a meeting with UITS to talk about additional technology needs regarding more computers possibly, or upgrading some cabling for current computer areas, access control that also kind of falls in there, and wireless upgrades. Another big item that we're working on with a contractor, again, who was here today, which we will figure out more in detail next week when they are back, is the exterior areas around the building, trying to coordinate where exactly and how much room is he really going to need. We've given him space outside the building and said, you can use these areas, but we're kind of hopeful he doesn't really need all of it. So I will show that site plan here shortly. And those items would be for what we call lay down. That's where he puts his materials. If he's ordered stuff and he's going to need it throughout the project, he can stock the stuff in there. It will be fenced in, so there should be no access to it for students, faculty, or staff. He put his dumpsters, his trailer for his office, his portalettes, that sort of thing. I think right now the hottest item on the list that we were working with Roberta and David, of course, is again going back to the university storage. That's the one item that is the biggest need at this point that has to be completed before the contractor starts the project. And of course, my coordinating with corporate at Einstein is trying to get the footprint finalized for how that's going to work out on our end for construction and budget. So other items of interest. Just to remind people, I know I've talked about things that are aesthetic and they're architectural and we're building offices and that sort of thing, but please keep in mind the biggest portion of the project is actually the upgrades to the entire HVAC, electrical, and plumbing in the building. So the building has been in dire need of upgrade for a very long time. We have successfully managed to keep it running efficient enough, but these sort of items will help the overall function and comfort of the space in the building, and accounts for more than 50% of the budget on the project. Just keep that in mind. That is a huge, huge item within the budget of the project. And it may not be noticeable to you when you come in the building, but at the end of the day, it's very important to the modernization, energy efficiency, and building longevity for the facility. Items that everybody's probably going to really love. You don't love HVAC like we do. We will be adding glass windows to the front northwest corner here. So where the current computers are, we will be cutting open the exterior wall of the building and adding large glass. So you can see out onto the quad cooling tower. I'm sorry, the clock tower. I'm talking about cooling towers all day. Sorry, the clock tower and Howard Hall. That will be your views out in the front of the building now. Also, we will be adding new single-seat ADA restrooms. Currently, you have ADA restrooms on the bottom floor. You don't, well, you do technically have ADA restrooms here in the back corner of the first floor, but they will be adding a single-seat ADA restroom on each the second and third floors. That will be directly across from the current gang restrooms. Special Collections Archive currently has stacked storage. They have a reading room, offices, and a small storage areas. They will be gaining, as well as their current large special HVAC conditioned storage space, will be gaining a larger reading room, offices, probably larger offices to be honest with you, a pre-processing room, an incoming triage and quarantine area, and more additional small processing rooms. So, student areas, all current student areas on the third floor will be fully renovated, and they will also be fully utilized, meaning even the ones that have been currently full of storage for another department will be open and free for use. And on the second floor, we will lose a few of the current ones along the exterior of the building to be able to build out for CSU Advise and ACT. However, we will be fully renovating the remaining ones there. But overall, the current seating count is 829, but the new count will be 1,002. So that's a difference of additional study seating of 173 seats. For those that like. Let's go. I don't know, can you guys see that? Or should I go to a drawing? The left side is existing, what we have. This is the ground floor. Currently, this is the doors into the dean's suite. At the loading dock, you don't really see the loading dock here. This is the doors that went into the Center of Online Learning. This space will be renovated in its entirety for the move for all of the administration areas, if you will, for Special Collections Archives. Going across the way to the same color, this will be his conditioned storage space for his stacks. Don't really see anything in here, but this is all mechanical space. All of this will be upgraded inside of here. You won't even know it's happening because it's in the background. There will be no renovation to any of this area other than a couple of small items that have been brought up along the way by the people in the building that have asked you questions, and that's on the list that we are currently working with the architect and the contractor on getting pricing together to hopefully put a few of those items in. This is the main floor. That's the one you'll worry about. The front door will currently come in. Emily, help me out. Are we coming in this way?
The white space.
Right here. So you're still coming in this direction. It will have a better front. You'll see it shortly when I show you the renderings. You'll come in this way into the front door. This is now the current new reference circulation desk that takes all this area up here. It will go deep into this area that you can't see at this moment. This is where the glass starts, and we'll go all the way around the front here. Will all be lounge and study seating for students, and the computers, again, like I said, will be relocated. I'm going to drop around, I'm sorry. So this, of course, is now where UITS offices are. That, like I said, will be renovated and opened up into a full study room. This is the current repair shop, actually from here this way, and this will be the offices. They'll all be incorporated into one space together. Computers, and all of this is study lounge area for students. Don't really see it, but this is vending, and this will be the footprint of Einstein's. It doesn't look much different, but I promise you it's been revised 18 times. It's not finished, but it will be within that footprint eventually. This is the green is the mezzanine, the study mezzanine at the top. There's not really much happening there other than possibly newer furniture, some swap out, add different type of seating. But it is getting 2 new stairs. So currently we have 1 stair, but to bring it to fire code, we're adding a second. Is that correct? So we'll have 2 of those up to there. Second floor. Should have brought my wand, sorry. Currently, stacks and storage are here. In a nutshell now, when you come in, this will be open seating for tutoring. This will all be 2 classrooms for ACT. His offices are here, and these are all CSU advised offices for advising, tutoring, but they can share these open areas together. These are the remaining study rooms that I referred to earlier. All of this will be study lounge area.
Kelly, is the drop ceiling up there changing at all from what it is now? Because that is a nightmare.
I'm proud to say yes, we should have a budget to now replace the ceilings in their entirety. To be honest with you, originally they had taken the non-renovated areas out to again try to get the project under budget, but the project did come in under budget enough that we will be able now to have all the new ceilings on the 2nd and 3rd floor.
It'll be similar to
This, a 2x2 lay-in tile with new, hopefully, LED lighting to match everything inside of the CSU advised and ACT. And the 3rd floor will be, the study rooms at the top will be renovated, all new carpet, new paint. I'm sorry, I didn't even talk about the finishes. So everything on the 2nd floor is getting new carpet, new paint as well, new ceilings, like I said. And the study rooms in the middle, which have not, I'm assuming before me, when Special Collections was built, they grew and grew, they had taken some of these, but all of that will be claimed back and will become study areas as well as this, but this will all be the book stacks here. This is the ADA restroom I was referring to across. And also, We had taken the renovations to the gang restrooms on all 3 floors, first, second, and third, out of the project, and we believe we have the budget to put that back in. That's a great thing. So I would hate to renovate the building and not be able to do that. So that's a positive note. So going into that, items that we're looking at that aren't necessarily in the current design are the renovation of all 6 center gang restrooms, men's and women's, for a total of 6, 2 per floor. Replacement of all the ceilings and lighting on the 3rd floor open space area, as well as the remaining open space area that was not going to originally be renovated on the 2nd floor. We had removed some of the carpet out. We're not going to include replacing the carpet in the study rooms along the perimeter. We are hoping to put that back in so it will match out in the open area. And then I have requested to add an additional wall. This is currently facility storage. They show a wall here that we were adding in because this will become mechanical space to blow the air over into special collections archive storage. I'm requesting to add an additional wall to hopefully put what comes out of here that we have nowhere to take into this side, and then I'll keep a portion for myself. Sacrifice, y'all. Remember that. Okay, this is the site plan. I don't know how many people can't read a 1D, but here's the library. The contractor is being, where's my light? Right here. So this is the parking lot below the library, the larger lot, lot 6. We will be taking a corner of that on the faculty side. It's approximately 10 spaces on the north end and 7. They will use the small part here to turn through the parking lot as their driveway, if you will. They will get this area. They will have access up the small, narrow driveway up to ADA and service spots behind, we should change that, Shannon Hall. They will have access to drive up. They will create a temporary driveway up to here to get them to the flat portion for laid out area next to the building. At the end of the day, they will not impede on the fact that there is ADA access from this building, Shannon Hall, to this parking lot. They cannot block that. So it might look a little confusing, but we will try to put as much signage up as we can to not block the folks coming out of here that need ADA access. This lot, lot 8, will have nothing in there. So we are not allowing them to use that unless they have a major delivery. They have to do that before 8 a.m. on any given weekday. In that lot, they will be driving in, here, drop, and then go back out. Their other delivery point is here, coming from the CCT lot, the double sidewalk. They are allowed to come here and drop, and they have to back out. So at the same time as this project, CSU will also be replacing both elevators in the building. This actually does not fall under the same project. We will be managing it internally at CSU facilities. It's currently out for bid. Bids at the end of this month. As soon as hopefully they're under budget to do both, they will definitely do both elevators in this building. But there's a 3rd elevator on there as well. We are hopeful to have enough money to do all 3. That one would happen later in the year. The priority is this building. If everything goes as scheduled, they could potentially be starting the first cab, if you will, late August. And as soon as that cab is complete, they will roll to the next one. So you will always have an elevator for access to go up and down at all given times. And I don't have a lot more to give you on information-wise, but I did want to thank anybody in the room, the individuals that participated in the programming sessions. It was a team effort, and your feedback was crucial to the process to get to where we are today. I know it's been a long time. It seems forever to some people. But we appreciate your patience, as well as anyone else in the room, for this long-awaited renovation, and hope to continue the patience and teamwork throughout this project, especially during this construction phase. There are going to be days we're going to have noise. We're going to try to give you a heads up. But any true amount of construction that would happen in an open area where there are people, they will have a dust partition up. I hope they not affect the elements in the air and that sort of thing. But there may be some inconveniences, but please bear with us. Couple of people, I want to introduce everyone to Scott Barton. He is our new project manager here at CSU and facilities. He will be more boots on the ground during this project, so if you have questions, that sort of thing, you can direct them to him or myself. And sorry, I got to introduce this. So the lady in the back here in the maroon is Emily. She is with 2WR Architects. They are the local architect who will be, if you will, in the field with us, making decisions and answering questions and doing coordination. So it's not always going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly right every day, but we will get through it and make it the best thing we can for CSU. Questions?
So we're gonna open it up for questions, but we do ask that you, Chris came in late, wait for a microphone, because we're recording this, so the people at home can hear what you're asking. So, questions?
Okay, sorry.
Distance might be a factor.
Oh, okay.
No,
It's transmitting to this thing right here, so you're behind the pillar. That's probably why. Everybody has to-
Hello? Okay then. Sorry then. This wall, to keep this space flexible, has kind of been important to us, to host, the various types of programs that not just we host, but, other departments like to have here. And a few librarians, we've talked with Dr. Markwood, and he doesn't remember why a permanent wall was in the plans, and no one seems to know why there's a permanent wall there. Can we just keep it a flexible space if nobody knows and nobody really cares?
So at the current time, it is still in the construction document today as a wall, a new wall that would be constructed. I see it as something that we would talk about. It's not the first thing they're going to build. It's probably a ways out to where we have a little bit of time to bring it back to the table to discuss. So that is on my agenda, is one of my priority items to figure out what exactly we're going to do within the first month or two of the project. So I would say at this point, it's still up in the air. So,
Yeah, because it's also like academic library trends, open spaces for programming, and I mean, like with the wall as it is now, it gets pretty quiet in here, so it can be used as a classroom, with the existing wall. So that was kind of still a concern about it. So.
I guess I have a general question. For something like that, what is the process that people will go through to advocate for something that's not macro structural, but if there are things that they want to have reconsidered or have answered? I don't think that process is clear to faculty or to staff on who would answer, how would you go about making requests, what kind of timeline you could expect for an answer. So how would we know how to go about doing that?
So in the past few weeks, questions have been sent from the library staff list that I have been answering the best we can with the information that we had, because the job had not bid at that point. Now that the job is bid and we know we are under budget, that's good. However, there was already a list of items that were not in the project. There are a few more that have been added based off some of those requests. If you have something that you would like to add to my list and consider, I just basically go back to the architect, we have conversation, we will talk to the contractor, everything has to be priced. That was not already on the list. It's all about budget at the end of the day, technically. The wall's a little different because it did involve a president, I will admit that. So that is still a person that I still have to go back to and get to buy-in to do whatever the final decision is. But for anything else, you can always just email Roberta or myself or Scott, and we will look at it and see if it's something that hasn't already been asked. So there's been quite a bit already.
Can I have a follow-up? I honestly don't have a particular thing in mind. But faculty know I was on the planning committee. And so they come and they ask me questions. And my answer has been, I don't know. You know, and I don't think that's the best answer, that as a faculty representative, that's the answer I give. And so I guess if there is a way of formally documenting what requests have been made and what the answers are in a way that can be disseminated in some kind of transparent way, I'd like to advocate for it.
I just would assume the same, we go to the dean's library, who would take it to the provost, and I mean, you know, normal procedure that already exists, so
Yeah, but how do you get an answer?
I'm sure the same, you get an answer the same
Well,
way.
I distribute answers as
Okay.
questions are addressed, so, yeah.
Okay.
And I think what Kelly was saying is that everything has a number, everything has a price. So until we got to this point, just this past Monday, we've been able to kind of lock in with the contractor.
Right.
So I think some of those questions that already have come are in process of being evaluated as to their purpose of the project and availability in the budget.
Okay.
So you may get an answer soon.
I'm more just vocalizing a common question.
I would just tell them to send an email to, like I said, Roberta. Let's start with her.
I will juggle the questions and get the answers back.
First of all, I want to say thank you for coming and doing this presentation. One of the concerns that we voiced to you before was about the noise level in the library, and I know an earlier iteration that we saw, not of the drawings, but the conceptual drawings included some kind of sound buffering. Is that still in the mix? Is that one of those things that can be talked about down the road? I'm not trying to pin you down, I'm just curious where we're at with that.
Sorry.
That's okay, no, that's fine.
I cannot off the top of my head tell you that there has been any additional sound barrier
Okay.
construction added into,
All right.
I'm assuming you're talking about the main floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think the thought was once we closed Einstein's,
Mhm.
we would then gauge what is noise level.
right,
At that point, there are ways to measure that and see,
Right.
do we still have as much of a problem? Is it better? Is it 100%? We're good, we're walking away from it.
okay,
Those things, again, to me, are very fluid.
right.
Once you build out what you have, and,
Right.
you know, there are ways to do things later,
Oh, right, right.
that can be added. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just wasn't sure where we were at with it, so, like you said, fluid.
I can pretty much say the budget did not cover adding that,
Okay.
so.
All right. While I have the mic, if I can ask a follow-up on a different thing. One of the concerns we hear from students every year on our library survey is study space. We want study space. And so we're getting more study seating, it sounds like, which is good. And if I understand you, then where the reference collection is, what we're reading right now, that is going to be turned into like an open area with furniture, kind of like what it is like back here. So that's going to be study area, and then the offices over here will be a study room.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure I understand where we're at. So, okay, that's the only question.
Well, while they think of more questions, I forgot to show you the rendering. I'm sorry. I'm not really good at PowerPoint. So this is the look coming up to the building from the main floor. If you were looking from CCT Woodall. This is coming into the front doors. The person there on the left is standing at the reference circulation desk. And straight ahead you see the study area with the open glass. So much more open. This is looking back the same toward where you were just standing at reference to circulation and what the open wall will look like. This is the reading room at Special Collections Archives. I asked for a view looking into that, and one of the things I didn't mention is they will be getting 4 windows added into that space to brighten the ground floor area. No, Julie, we can't add them into your space. On the other side of the ground floor, so that's a foundation. It's not a concrete wall. Yeah, just go over there and look out. And this is the view coming up the stair, the elevator on the second floor, looking toward ACT, CSU Advise, and you kind of see the seats. I'm not going to say those are the seats Steve's buying, they'll look anything like what Steve would buy. It's like we're very outside. Oh, I'm trying to give you a happy note in case you're very aren't they beautiful? Some more questions? Yes, that's Rock. That's TT girl on the end, Howland. That's what she does. And that's Rocket. And that's Rowdy girl. My lab. Yeah. So
They look spoiled.
they are. Any questions? Y'all are easy. I was sweating there with bullets. Wow.
Did you talk time frame, talk about schedule
Oh,
and time
okay,
frame?
so, well, I don't have, even after meeting with the contractor today, we don't really know when they will start, because they have to get the contract back to us, along with the bonds and that sort of thing. And then I believe, once we have that in hand and we let the state know, the state will issue a letter of notice to proceed. So we don't really know. In my eyes, I would assume we would start at the end of finals. Kind of mentioned that today, and they were like, well, we really want to start May the 1st. And I thought, wow, that's 2 weeks. So I don't know. So that's kind of, it could be May 1st. I guess it could be mid-May, which, the Monday after finals. And again, the majority of the first part of work would be downstairs. It would not be up here. But again, that is, I don't have their schedule yet. Hopefully I will get that. But start May, they have been given 12 months to finish, so they could potentially go as late as next May. So we'll see. I won't know until I have their schedule. So, but we will share that. We'll probably summarize it into a shorter, probably bar chart type schedule and send that out as well, just to give more information on the areas where they'll be working. I'm sure you guys would want to know that. Sorry. I see your
So,
phone.
it's okay, so this is, kind of not about actual renovation, but, during the process of finding the contractor, we were instructed not to have conversations with them for bias reasons. So now that that has been done, they ask us questions. Not that we can give them any real answers, but I did notice them upstairs today, so I'm glad to know that they were picked, but we didn't know if that process is still going on, like what interactions we can have if they do have questions.
So not talking to the contractors, because during bid phase, you actually have more than one.
Right.
And we do tour them through the space a minimum of one time, so they can see the building and make notes and measure things and that sort of thing, so they get their best number. None of us are allowed to talk to them. And I'll tell you, it's a funny thing is, as soon as this job was put on the street, my phone and email was just blowing up. Contractors, hey, can you call me? Can you tell me about this library project? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, nope, call the architect. So I think it's a blessing, because I don't have to deal with all these questions and stuff, and people are just lazy. They don't want to go look at the drawings and that sort of thing. But now that the job is bid and we do have a low bidder, I'm telling him I do not want him to talk to you guys. Now, that's not because I don't want you guys to talk. It has nothing to do personal. It's the fact that they need to direct all their questions to the construction team. So, they might ask you a question and you give them one answer, but that's might not be what we need them to know, kind of thing. And they shouldn't really ask anybody inside the building much, unless you're directed somehow by someone that maybe there was a time when we were not here, we were downtown, and we couldn't get someone into a room. We might have to call and say, hey, can you send someone to open that door? But there really should be no conversation, no questions, either direction to the contractor.
Okay.
They know to call us or email us, texting, it's all that.
Thank you, I just wanted clarification, because we did see them discussing things and asking questions, and they looked like they were we're kind of in a fish bubble in the archives, so it's like we're there, but not really, like you can see out.
What-
So they were just kind of confused, and I was like, I don't know if I can answer a question if they
came in and asked.
During construction is what I'm saying, but now he's just trying to know where things are. He's trying to get his game plan together. So it's okay if he asks you a question about, is everything in this area going at one time? Sure, you can answer that question.
Okay.
But hopefully, what they did was they walked around and got their questions together and brought them to us, and we answered them for them because, I think they were here 3 or 4 hours this morning. So they're just, while looking at the building, there was one gentleman with them that had never been here, and that's the owner of the company. He wanted to see it for himself. So they're just doing their due diligence to make sure they've got their schedule right, and they will be meeting next week for a couple of days. I'm not sure where we're putting them yet, to meet with all their low bid subcontractors to go through their scope of work to make sure everything's covered and that they haven't double dipped anywhere and that sort of thing, and make sure their budget's correct. And to talk about lead time. So I didn't talk about this either. The critical path of the project is actually the HVAC. So some of the equipment that they're having to order, which they will order as soon as they get that contract in place, they have a notice to proceed, they will make that order. They will potentially be putting in around December. So as soon as finals are over or sometime thereabouts, they will start putting that equipment in. The chiller alone could take till December to get. So there's some pretty long lead times, and so they're meeting with those subs to find out how quick can you get the new chiller and the new cooling tower and the new air handlers and all those things to figure out their schedule. But we've given them a time frame that they can be doing HVAC changes in the building, which the building will be affected. I mean, you'll have less people here, but there might be a day or two that, when it's unfortunately 10 degrees outside, you might have to wear a windbreaker at your desk. They'll be running one air handler, so you're only getting half your airflow. Or you know how it is in Georgia, it might be 80 degrees, so you might have to wear a tank top. So it could be hot there, I don't know. So you just don't know. I mean, it kind of ebbs and flows both directions. But the other thing is, and people don't realize this, is the chiller in this building actually feeds 2 buildings. It feeds here and it feeds Howard Hall. So that's another building that will be affected by the fact that when we take the chiller down and we put the new one in, it will also affect that building. So those are the kind of things we definitely want to do from the end of finals until everything is back in place, probably more for spring than Jan Mester. We'll have to look at some of the scheduling of what their classes in Howard Hall. I'm not sure for Jan Mester.
Can you reiterate that? What can the academic classrooms in Howard Hall expect HVAC-wise during summer and fall semesters?
Everything typically is generated off of outside air.
Right.
So if it's 60 degrees outside, we pull air, most systems on campus pull air from the outside and condition the air to whatever temperature you want it to be on the inside.
Right.
So if it's 10 degrees outside, we're pulling in ice cold air. We're having to heat the air to bring it warmer. But it does this, actually the water is fed to, also chilled water is fed over to Howard Hall, which that building runs off the same exchange, if you will, as this building. So whatever they're experiencing here, they're going to experience there because they're not getting as much flow to them, just like you. But ultimately, Howard Hall doesn't have offices. It's all classrooms.
It's classrooms.
Right. So if you're not teaching class, we're fine. So we're taking it down after finals.
Okay.
Right.
But I was asking about fall term. You said it would be up before spring starts, so I assume it's
That's
going to be
correct. So
impacted
the
all
push
fall.
would be from, I think finals in around the 10th. They would take it down on the 10th, and you would have less air, whether it's hot or cold, from then till probably mid-January. It's not like what's at your house. It's huge, and they've got to cram it all into here. It'll be a fun holiday for some of us.
Yeah, okay. And we can schedule it for other buildings.
My dogs are still cute. Well, thank y'all very much. If you have any questions, send them to Roberta.
And I guess I should introduce myself for those that don't know me. I'm Emily Cruz, and so I'm the librarian for outreach and marketing. So I'm putting together a small guide for the renovation. So it's going to be hopefully a semi one-stop shop. So any repeat questions that Roberta gets, I will be posting the question and answers onto that guide. It's not done yet. I'm kind of waiting in the semester because we have a very large project going on. But it will be up, so stay tuned to our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram for more information about that. Oh, and the drawings, I know they're kind of small. Kelly's going to send me the PDFs, so you and the folks at home that are going to be watching this, you'll be able to see this bigger. So, in case you couldn't see them from where you are.
Thank you.